Jon, you've had a frontline seat to the Minster Community process so far as one of the facilitators, and I think, is it almost 25 years in frontline ministry as a vicar and then also working centrally? So you must have seen a lot of change in that time. How does that compare to your experience of Minster Communities so far?
Yeah, I mean, blimey, you make me sound really old. It's just want to make it clear, it's not like I predate the Reformation or went to school with Adam and Eve or anything like that. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I got ordained, no one could have imagined services being live streamed or meetings happening on Zoom or anything like that. Back in those days, overhead projectors were seen as, a little bit edgy or kind of exciting. When I got ordained, it was only 6 years since women had been ordained as priests. Lots of things were really quite different. But I think it's important to remember that the Church of England has always been changing. If we think about pews or organs, electric lights even, all of those things were probably once very new and trendy, and no doubt there were people saying, my gosh, that's never going to catch on. Nowadays we think of those things as we take them for granted, or even think of them as deeply traditional. And of course it's not just the church, but society itself has changed massively too. So I think joining a Minster community may feel, or might seem or sound a bit like a big change, but it's really about continuing our calling to be a Christian community or a Christian presence in every community. What won't ever change is our commitment to the gospel and our mission to seek the kingdom of God. That remains front and centre of everything that we seek to do.
So you say that church has been changing for a long time. Are there other dioceses then in the Church of England that are going through big changes at the moment too?
Yeah, sort of similar processes, absolutely. All across the UK, churches and dioceses are basically wrestling with the same sort of stuff, the same or similar challenges. We're all experiencing what you might describe as a perfect storm of declining church attendance. And that's not a new thing, that was going on throughout the whole of the 20th century, even in that period that some people perhaps look back on now with rose-tinted glasses and sort of see as the halcyon age or a golden era or something, the good old days, something like that. So declining attendances, reduced giving, and stretched church leaders, which means most of us, in good conscience, can't put our heads in the sand and just pretend that doing more of the same is actually the way forward, or that it's going to work. I think, put simply, every diocese in the country, or pretty much every diocese in the country, is financially close to the edge. And so the question for us is how, with the restrictions that our finances put on us, how can we most effectively make new disciples, grow the depth of discipleship, and act and show loving service in the world? So how do we best enable parishes to flourish with the resources that we've got? How do we best do mission from where we find ourselves? It's a little bit like that joke that someone says, how do I get to the post office from here? And the other fella says, well, if I was going to the post office, I wouldn't start from here. Well, we are where we are. That's where we start from. So many dioceses are answering that question with something similar to Minster Communities. Salisbury, Sheffield, Bristol, Birmingham, right from Carlisle in the north to Truro in the deep south.
So what is it that makes people think that Minster Communities is the way forward then?
Well, there's more to Minster Communities than the structure or the number of posts and that kind of thing. Minster Communities aren't the answer in and of themselves. Active discipleship is. So in and of themselves, they're not the answer. Active discipleship is. But really it's about creating a structure to enable discipleship and mission. The Shaped by God Together journey is first and foremost about local discipleship, local calling, and about faith. It's about the challenges facing the Church of England, whether they're how many members there are, or how old those members are, or how much they give. All of those challenges are actually rooted in discipleship. So the Minster community formation process isn't about forcing a fixed model on anyone. They're created by parishes discerning how God is calling them in our present moment. They're inviting them to think about where their strengths are and how they can bless and be blessed by others to fulfill that mission. It's when parishes do that together that we think that they can have the longest and the brightest future.